Welcome to Kids Recall. In today's video, we're going to be going through the 2022 Thor: Love and Thunder. It's time to recall. Let's get started. Turn on subtitles and spoilers ahead. The movie starts and we see Gorr and his daughter Love, the last of their race, struggle in a barren desert. They neither have anything to eat nor to drink, and as they walk on, Gorr makes a stop and prays to the god Rapu. However, his prayers are not heard, and no one comes to his aid. His daughter is unable to hold on any longer and dies of thirst and hunger in the middle of nowhere. He buries his little girl in the desert and makes his way on. As he walks on, he spots a forest in the distance. That is when he thinks the gods must have answered his prayers, and starts walking towards the forest. He gets there and spots a stream of fresh water right away. He jumps into it and drinks a lot of water. Then he moves on towards the fresh fruits in that place. That is when he sees Rapu sitting behind him, and he goes on to ask why is he eating his fruits. Gorr says that he is the one who has come to his aid. He prayed to him, so Rapu is here now. But Rapu tells him that he's got it all wrong. He's not at all there to save him. He tells Rapu that people who used to believe in him are all dead. He is the only one left, so Rapu should always be helping him. He says that there is no one left in his family, only his daughter was left, and now she is no more. Rapu says that people usually make sacrifices to make their gods happy, so Gorr should just consider it a sacrifice and that he's made him happy. After Rapu cruelly mocks Gorr's plight, he renounces the god, causing Rapu to strangle him. The Necro sword offers itself to Gorr, who kills Rapu with it and vows to kill all gods. The scene then shifts to Gorr, who is telling the kids a story of Thor, where he can fight for everyone, but he just does not fight for himself. Since he was just a child, Thor always wanted to help others without any expectations from them. Then he met a woman named Jane. They started loving each other, but it was not meant to be, and they separated soon after. On the other hand, Thor was left alone, then gradually all the people he was close to, or all the people who loved him, either drifted away from him for some reason, or they just died fighting. But one thing that is special about Thor is that despite going through all the aforementioned hardship, he did not stop fighting and went on to join the Guardians of the Galaxy. He fought many battles along with the Guardians of the Galaxy, but whenever he was out there, the only thing that was on his mind was Jane. He has not been able to forget that woman. Thor then just got sick of the human world. He got sick of social life and decided to start living on his own. Now he lives alone in a secluded area. However, whenever someone comes to him and says that the fight cannot be won without him, Thor would get ready for the fight right away, and after that, we see that Peter Quill makes his way to Thor's place and tells him that there's a battle that cannot be won without him. This is when he picks up his Stormbreaker, turns it into a wand, and makes his way out of there. He directly goes to the war where the army of the Guardians of the Galaxy is fighting the enemy. This is when King of the Land spots him there and he approaches. He requests him to fight for them, saying that they're under attack from everywhere and only he can save them. He says that their lives are going normally and they're living peacefully, but then the god was killed by someone, and after that, these people arrived and started fighting with them. They are thugs, and they're there to rob them of every precious thing they have. He says that they have already taken the temple under their control. Thor promises him that he's going to save them all. He then picks up Stormbreaker, connects it to himself, and goes on to fight. He starts killing everyone that comes his way. After a long fight, Thor manages to win the battle for them, but amidst it all, the precious temple perishes to the ground. The scene then shifts to the female mighty Thor, who's Jane. The woman is suffering from 4th stage cancer, and Darcy's also there with her. Darcy sits with her and asks her about the man she used to love. Jane, however, does not feel like talking about it and keeps dodging the question. Jane and Thor are not in a relationship anymore, and for the last 8 years, Jane has been a professor. She works on scientific theories and also delivers lectures on them. One day, she comes across a book of Vikings that has something written about Thor's weapon called Mjolnir. There, we also see Valkyrie, who has been living in her new Asgard. That day, there's a play going on that's based on Thor, Loki, and Odin, where these people are performing on the stage. Meanwhile, Dr. Jane, Thor's ex-girlfriend, with medical treatment proving ineffective, travels to New Asgard hoping that Thor's hammer Mjolnir, which has previously fractured by Hela, could heal her. due to an enchantment Thor unknowingly placed on it years earlier to protect Jane. Mjolnir reforges and bonds itself to her. On the other hand, King of the Land goes on to reward Thor with 2 giant goats. He has saved their lives, so he wants to give him the goats as a reward. When Thor and the others get back to their ship, Peter goes on to his device, which he calls an advanced communication system. They go on to learn that a lot of countries need their help right now. All of these people are calling for help, and everyone has been saying that their gods are being killed. While watching the video, Thor also spots Sif. Sif is a very good friend of his, and Thor tells his other partner right away that they have to save Sif and the people living in her country. That is when Peter tells Thor that her country is not the only one that needs help, so they should split up and go to different countries to help them all. After that, Thor, along with his best friend, right away, make their way to Sif. When they get there, they notice the god of Valkyrie has been killed by someone. There he also finds Sif, who's badly injured, with one of her hands cut already. Sif then goes on to tell him that whoever did this to her, his next target is New Asgard. He's already on his way to that place. We then see the villain of this movie, who is of course none other than Gorr, who has the Necro Sword, and with the help of that sword, he makes his way to New Asgard, creates a lot of monsters, and orders them to destroy the whole city. Thor arrives in New Asgard just as Gorr's attack begins. Valkyrie is also there, and they start killing every monster that comes their way. We see that despite Thor and his friends killing the monsters, they keep growing in numbers. That's when Thor spots his old weapon, Mjolnir. He has a feeling that there's a great warrior among them, and that warrior's also on their side. This is when Valkyrie comes to him and says that she's sure he's going to like this brave warrior. This is when Jane enters as Mighty Thor. Thor also brings his own Mighty Thor look, and they are happy to see each other again after a long time. They can celebrate that later. At first, they have a big problem to deal with. They then get back to fighting, and this is where we see a flashback to where those two used to live happily with each other. However, they were called to different places, so it wasn't possible for them to continue their relationship, which is why they ended it. They have had busy lives, so they have not been able to catch up on what was going on with each other. Back to the present, the group thwarts Gorr, but he escapes, kidnapping several Asgardian children and imprisoning them in the Shadow Realm. Just as Thor is about to catch up to him, the monster has already left. The next day, all the parents whose kids are missing go to the station to report the kids. This is when Thor comes to the hall filled with worried parents. He tells them that this is his promise to all of them, that he's going to bring back the kids. He then goes on to talk to his friends about their enemy. Valkyrie tells him that the man has the Necro Sword. It's a sword that could easily put an end to all the gods out there. He is told that the sword is so powerful that it could create a lot of monsters through black magic. Jane then goes on to ask what they're talking about, and Thor tells her that the Necro Sword is a sword that has been changing its owners with the passage of time. It's an evil weapon. Whoever wields this sword, they are going to become corrupt and brutal, and there is going to be a hunger for power and revenge, and that is exactly what Gorr has been doing with that sword. The group then sees one of the kids' holographic images, and he tells them that he too has been taken by Gorr. Thor right away goes on to ask him where they are right now, but the boy tells him that he doesn't know how to use his powers properly. Thor then goes on to make him focus the power of his eyes. Thor connects himself to the boy's eyes, and they end up getting to the place where all the kids are being kept by Gorr. When the kids see Thor there, they're all very happy and relieved, and then they go on to beg him to get them out of there. That's when Thor tells them that he's not really there in reality. This is only his brain, his unconscious brain. He, however, adds that they should not worry, and neither should they be scared, as he's bringing his team to save them all. He then goes back to his conscious brain and tells the others that they have kept the kids in the part of space that has no light whatsoever. He says that Gorr is so powerful on Earth, and that means he's going to be way more powerful in space. He says that if they want to put an end to Gorr, they're going to need a proper army. The group then travels to Omnipotent City to warn the other gods and ask for their help in creating an army. We see many gods in that place. There are stone gods, wax gods, there are even gods of feelings. Then we see the god of thunder, Thor. This is when he sees the entry of the god of gods, Zeus. That day, they have set up a meeting in which they want to discuss some important things that have been going on around the world. When the group tries to eavesdrop on what they're talking about, it just turns out to be discussions over party stuff. This is when Thor starts getting annoyed because there are, of course, bigger problems in the world right now, and they're talking about what they're going to do in the next farewell. He then gets up and presents himself in front of Zeus. He tells him that he is there to ask for his help. He tells them that all the gods are being killed one by one, and Gorr is the one behind this. He's been able to do all this because he has the Necro Sword. He tells Zeus that Gorr has kidnapped many kids from New Asgard and has taken them to the darkness of space. He says that he wants to save the kids, so he needs their help. The leader of the gods, Zeus, however, fears Gorr and is unwilling to help, thinking that they can remain safe and hidden from Gorr in this city. Zeus orders the groups captured to prevent them from exposing the city's location to Gorr. When Zeus injures Korg, Thor impales Zeus with his own thunderbolt, which Valkyrie steals before they escape. As the journey continues, Thor and Jane rekindle their romantic relationship, and Jane reveals her illness. The group arrives at the Shadow Realm but is unable to locate the children. Jane sees ancient drawings that depict Thor's battle axe Stormbreaker as a way to summon the Bifrost to enter the realm of eternity, and deduces the trap laid out by Gorr. She throws away Stormbreaker to prevent Gorr from accessing it. However, Gorr overpowers the group and threatens to kill Jane, forcing Thor to summon it back. Gorr successfully steals Stormbreaker and severely injures Valkyrie before a weakened Jane collapses. Upon traveling back to New Asgard, Thor discovers that Jane's Thor form is not allowing her body to naturally fight cancer. Thor persuades Jane to let him fight Gorr alone, while she recuperates. Thor finds the kidnapped children at Eternity's altar and, using Zeus's thunderbolt, imbues them with his power to fight Gorr's monsters while he battles Gorr. When Jane senses that Gorr is about to kill Thor, she joins the battle with Mjolnir to save him. They destroy the Necro Sword, freeing Gorr from its influence, but the three are brought into Eternity's realm. With Gorr poised to make his wish, Thor implores Gorr to revive his daughter instead of destroying the gods. Thor then leaves Gorr to make his decision and attends to Jane, who succumbs to her illness and dies in his arms. Moved by their display, Gorr wishes for Eternity to revive love, which it grants. As Gorr dies from the curse, he requests Thor to take care of love. And in the aftermath, the children return to New Asgard, where Valkyrie and Sif begin training them. And a monument in honor of Jane is built. Thor adopts Love, who joins him in his heroics, and the former wielding Mjolnir and the latter wielding Stormbreaker. We then see that in the last scene of the movie, back in Omnipotent City, a recuperating Zeus sends his son Hercules to kill Thor. And with that, the movie comes to an end. Thanks for watching. Please like, subscribe, and click the bell icon to get new movie recaps.